It would be very hard to kind of start a new coin today. There's so many out there. The main reason that it's hard is it's hard to get like mind share, right? The thing with a decentralized currency is if there are people running nodes, people using it, the project would survive. It's almost like a living thing. It's a decentralized network supported by people. But as long as there are people supporting it, it would go on.
Is there anything you would have necessarily done different in creating Litecoin?
I probably would have stayed anonymous.
This episode is brought to you by Trezor. Trezor makes beautifully crafted hardware wallets that allow you to easily and safely store your crypto assets. Trezor's been in the game for a very long time. Since 2013, they were the pioneers of hardware wallets and the seed phrase setup, and their hardware wallets are open source. In fact, my favorite is the Trezor Safe 5. It's a beautifully designed and easy to use hardware wallet, guys, and it's my go-to. And they support a variety of coins. All your top crypto tokens, your Bitcoins, your XRP, Ethereum, Solana, and much more. And even new coins, even BlackRock's BUIDL token. So they support coins on the institutional side where you have tokenization of different assets and much more. And they even offer a great service that helps you to get your Trezor device set up. You get one-on-one customer support from their team. So you can check that out as well. So once again, I'm a big fan of this hardware wallet. So if you'd like to learn more, visit the link in the description. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast. I'm your host, Tony Edward, and joining me today is Charlie Lee, who is the creator of Litecoin. Charlie, it's an honor to have you on the pod.
Hey, Tony, nice to be here.
Yeah, Charlie, I view you as one of the godfathers of the crypto industry. You were here so early, creating Litecoin. You worked at Coinbase. And boy, you have a plethora of knowledge. I have so many questions to ask you, not just about Litecoin, but the future of crypto and where you see things are at. But I would love for us to go back a bit in history, so folks can get a better understanding of Litecoin. For those who don't know, what was your first encounter with Bitcoin, and what was your aha moment, and how did that lead to the creation of Litecoin?
So I first I read about Bitcoin in early 2011. It was an article on Slashdot about how Bitcoin is the only currency used on Silk Road Marketplace, which is a darknet marketplace that sells drugs and whatnot. And they only accept Bitcoin because it's a more private coin. It's also a better form of money than what's out there. So I read into it and really got hooked on Bitcoin. Just how that it's kind of like digital gold.
Mm.
Just very similar to gold in properties, like it's mineable, it's fixed supply, nobody controls it. But it's better than gold in the sense that it's cheap to hold, cheap to send, and you can easily send to anyone across the world. Whereas with gold, you can't because it's physical and it's hard to hold, hard to send. So I just saw it as just better form of money than even gold. And then over the next half year, in 2011, I kind of played around with the code, decided to just mess around and create my own altcoin, and I named it Litecoin. And I positioned it as silver to Bitcoin's gold, so kind of complementary to Bitcoin, and similar to how in the history people have used gold and silver as money. I saw kind of Bitcoin and Litecoin go hand in hand. So that's what happened, and the rest is history.
And Charlie, I got into crypto in 2016, and I remember being in my first bull market was 2017. I remember buying some Litecoin, but now that I look back, Litecoin has had this staying power, which is pretty incredible, because we've seen a lot of altcoins have gone away, right? If you look at the market cap list from, let's say, 2016, 2017 to what we have now, a lot of coins have gone away. So why do you think Litecoin has this staying power? Is it because it's similar to Bitcoin with the proof of work, hard money type of concept?
A few things. I think one is that it's very similar to Bitcoin. So it has all the good properties of Bitcoin, like decentralization, like how the money supply gets, or the inflation gets cut in half every 4 years. So I didn't mess around with what actually makes Bitcoin work well. And similar to Bitcoin, it's just good money, right? It's very simple. It works. People use it for payments, low fees, fast transactions. So the fact that it's useful is the reason why it has staying power, and also because it was launched fairly. So there's no pre-mine. It's very decentralized. Um, like a lot of previous coins or other coins have huge pre-mines benefiting the founder or the foundation, and a lot of people don't like that, right? You're kind of
Mm.
supporting a project that is making someone else super rich. Whereas Litecoin is decentralized money, right? It's something. It's yeah, I think that's the main reason why it's survived for so long.
So on that note, are you still a Litecoin holder? And how are you working or supporting the Litecoin ecosystem to these currently?
Yeah, I still own a few. I'm not really invested in Litecoin. I've realized that not being invested is the kind of best way for me to go forward. So I still support the ecosystem. I'm a director at the Litecoin Foundation. I donate quite a bit to the foundation and to support Litecoin. I have a year ago I uh, announced a matching donation of $250,000 a year to the foundation and to other projects supporting Litecoin for 5 years. So I'm doing that. I'm also on the board of Lite Strategy, the first Litecoin Treasury company. So I'm helping them with that, and they're very supportive of Litecoin and the whole ecosystem. So it's a win-win. Um, yeah, just focus on Litecoin and doing whatever I can to help support adoption and development of Litecoin.
Yeah, for sure. So looking back, Charlie, is there anything you would have necessarily done different in creating Litecoin, like when you were, playing with the code or whatever it may be? I know hindsight's 2020, right? But I'm curious, would there have been any pivots you would have made in creating Litecoin?
Yeah, one thing I thought a lot about recently is how I probably would have stayed anonymous, similar to
Mm,
what Satoshi did. Back then, I created it. Initially, when I launched it, I didn't say like I'm Charlie Lee. This is my creation. Right? I launched it in a Bitcoin forum under a pseudonym, um, and and then people reached out to me, wanted to do interviews and stuff, and then I figured why not, right? So I did interviews, and then that's how like my name came out, right? So I didn't really think too much about it. Um, in hindsight, probably would have been better to be anonymous, just for privacy reasons. And I think having like anonymous creator like Bitcoin would be better. But
mm.
hindsight is 2020. And it's okay.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm curious, is there anything that could be done to the code today or enhancements or any type of layer two that could be built on Litecoin to expand or create new features? And not necessarily that that's a must, but I'm just curious because we saw, for example, Ethereum pivot from proof of work to proof of stake.
Mhm.
Whether that's a good decision, I don't know. History will we'll see over time. But I'm curious, is there anything on the roadmap or what developers are looking at to potentially expand things on Litecoin?
Yeah, we've actually done something on Litecoin that is different than Bitcoin. A few years ago, we launched a privacy fungibility layer called MWeb on Litecoin
Mm,
that adds a little bit of privacy, which is important for fungibility. This is something that is a property of good money that has been missing on Bitcoin and Litecoin previously. Um, it's an idea. The fungibility is an idea that for money to work well, every coin is equal to every other coin, right? There shouldn't be a
mm,
difference between one Litecoin versus the other Litecoin. Um, the example I like to use is when you go to a store and you pay for something, you can pull out any $20 bill or any bill for that matter. It doesn't matter which one you pull out. It's the same, right? There's no differentiation between one $20 bill versus the other. Of course, there's a serial number on it, but it doesn't matter, right?
mhm,
With Bitcoin and Litecoin previously, that's not the case because it's a public blockchain. There's history attached to every coin, so people can discriminate against certain coins. For example, if you use a darknet marketplace and then you pull out coins from that marketplace and deposit it with a regulated exchange, that exchange could potentially see where the coins came from and ban you from using the exchange, right? And that's not great for money, right?
Mm.
For money that you own yourself, you should be able to use it however you want. And having kind of not having fungibility is not great. So what we did with Litecoin is we added a second layer using technology called Mimblewimble that makes uh, the transaction amount hidden from anyone else other than the sender and recipient. So there's no reason when you're sending money that the whole world can see. Excuse me. That the whole world can see how much money you're sending. So having that kind of be hidden from everyone else is important privacy and fungibility feature. So yeah, I mean that it makes the reason why Bitcoin is transparent is with a transparent blockchain is it's simple. It's important that everyone can see how many Bitcoins is out there, right? If you can't like count all the Bitcoins to 21 million, then you don't know if there's kind of hidden inflation. And the problem with privacy coins, with any privacy coins, is that if you can't see, you have to use cryptography and math to kind of prove that the number of coins is constant, right? A transaction did not create coins out of thin air. And that gets complicated, makes the blockchain bigger. So there are trade-offs involved with privacy. And with Mimblewimble, I feel like the trade-off is very good. It's not perfect privacy by any means, but it's good enough for everyday use.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of everyday use, we know Litecoin has faster transaction times and so forth than Bitcoin. But I'm curious, there are folks who have created the Lightning Network for Bitcoin to help improve day-to-day use and small transactions. Is there a Lightning Network for Litecoin? Anything along those lines?
There is actually there is a Lightning Network on Litecoin as well. And actually, the Lightning Network on Litecoin was the first to have a Lightning transaction
Mm,
uh, with there's a technology called SegWit that happened quite a few years ago. I don't know if you heard about it.
yep.
It was activated on Litecoin first, and that's when the Lightning Network kind of the became effective, and a Lightning Network transaction happened on Litecoin before it happened on Bitcoin. So yeah, so Lightning Network is on Litecoin, but it's not used as much because the Litecoin mainnet works really well in terms of low fees and fast transactions.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember that was one of I had bought Bitcoin. I remember reading up on Litecoin. I'm like, wait, it's faster, cheaper, and so forth. So I had bought some LTC tokens. So that's really cool. Interesting, and maybe a little bit hard question for you, Charlie. If you were to start a crypto project today, right? What do you think it might be focused on? Would it be like privacy, AI, tokenization? What do you think it might be around?
It would be very hard to kind of start a new coin today.
Mm,
Just there's so many out there, and it's hard to. The main reason that it's hard is it's hard to get like mind share, right? It's hard for people to why would they invest in this new coin versus like on Bitcoin or any other coins out there,
mm.
right? Why would they support it? So it's kind of tough unless you're like a lot better than what's out there, which is it's hard to do. It's very hard for a new coin to succeed. So I would be building stuff on kind of on top of it. Um, like maybe a payment processor, maybe something that is useful to
Mm,
people. Um, the kind of the main hindrance with crypto today and kind of since the beginning is just ease of use, right? It's a user experience. You want people to use it for payments, right? But it has to be as easy or easier than credit cards, right? Right now, you go to a store, you scan your credit card, swipe it, or tap, and it happens like immediately, very quickly. You get your item, whatever you're buying, and that's it, right? You don't care about what goes on in the background, how many banks it goes through before it gets approved. It just happens like almost instantaneously. Where crypto today, it's still not easy to use, right?
mm.
QR code, sending transactions, waiting for confirmation, all that all that stuff needs to be kind of in the background. Um, to the one thing is you're sending value instantly, and you're getting goods and services. So I think companies that make that happen, make it easy, is very important.
Yeah, well said. So on that note, right, one of my questions for you was going to be, what does the future of crypto look like? So in addition to making the usability easier, do you foresee it being these all already or the payment processors that are already in the world, your Visas, your Mastercards, your PayPal's, your banks, and so forth, they have to integrate crypto, and also they're not just these crypto assets like Litecoin, but stable coins that th- crypto has to kind of merge with TradFi, and we find that common ground for the adoption to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of advancement with stable coins, right? And that's for good for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Litecoin. Because if if all the stores accept USDC, it's very easy for you to want to hold your money in something that is like better money, better sound money like Bitcoin, Litecoin. And when you spend, you just convert it on the fly, right?
Mm.
So um, that makes things simple, right? So if a store accepts USDC, they effectively accept Bitcoin and Litecoin and other cryptocurrencies because there are services that let you convert coins on the fly. So you send out Litecoin, the recipient gets USDC, and everyone's happy. So you don't have to store your money in fiat currencies, right? USDC is based off of USD. If you're just holding USDC, you're effectively just holding US dollar, which is getting inflated away over time. So you can store your money in good sound money and spend it wherever. So that's good for everyone.
Oh, for sure. Now, jumping back to what you said about, if you were to, it's going to be very difficult to start a new project or a token. You would rather work on fixing the usability and experience. There are a lot of projects out there now, Charlie, a lot more than, when you got in the market, when I got in the market in 2016, 2017. What do you think happens over time? Let's say we fast forward to 2035. Is there going to be a lot of projects are going to go to zero, maybe some consolidation? Maybe there's, I don't know, Charlie, like top 50 blockchains or crypto assets in the market or top 100, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's just normal, right? Where if you compare it to like the internet.coms, right? They're everyone's trying different things, right? But the valuable projects would rise to the top. So like the Googles, the eBays, the Amazons, and then stuff like pets.com and other things would die off, right?
Mm,
Um, find uh, product market fit, right? So that happens with it's happening with crypto, right? There, like you previously mentioned, there are a lot of coins other than Litecoin that were potentially even launched earlier than Litecoin that don't exist anymore because there's no product market fit. That nobody cared enough to support it. And the thing with a decentralized currency is if there are people running nodes, people using it, the project would survive.
mm,
Um, it's it's almost like a living thing, right? It kind of lives on. It's a decentralized network supported by people. But as long as there are people supporting it, it would go on. So if a decentralized currency dies, it's because nobody cares about it anymore. Nobody's running nodes. Nobody's using it anymore. Um, so yeah, similarly with other projects, I think the good ones, the ones that are useful, will stick around, and the ones that don't find any use case will die off.
oh, for sure. And some of the on and off ramps, so to speak, that are being built for crypto assets and, of course, for Litecoin are digital asset treasuries and ETFs. You mentioned earlier Lite Strategy. So tell us a bit about Lite Strategy as a company. Was it formed specifically to be a Litecoin treasury, or was it a company that existed but is now adding a Litecoin strategy?
It was a company that existed. It was a healthcare company, but they're pivoting into a Litecoin treasury strategy. So the company got uh, an investment, a pipe investment of $100 million, and they deployed that into buying Litecoin, and they're actively managing it, finding different ways to kind of make money off of that initial investment. Um, yeah, in terms of like these treasury companies, it's an interesting kind of thing happening right now, started by MicroStrategy. Um, and it's very new, right? So nobody knows what the future holds. Right now, a lot of these companies are having a tough time.
Mhm.
The market is down. The price of the stock for those companies are most of the cases less than the amount of coins they're holding, right? Less than NAV. Um, so it's interesting where things will go. It's a very exciting space. As I mentioned previously, Litecoin didn't have a pre-mine, so we don't have like a big foundation, right? A lot of coins, including like Ethereum, they have a very wealthy foundation holding a lot of coins that were kind of printed out of thin air, and they can sell off the coins, use the coins to further the project. But with Litecoin being more decentralized with no pre-mine, the foundation is very lean. We the amount of money we spend every year is about like $200,000-300,000 versus like millions with other coins, right? Other coin foundation. So having like a company like Strategy with $100 million worth of Litecoin, kind of supporting the ecosystem is great for Litecoin, because they have more capital to kind of support Litecoin, which helps Light Strategy itself, right? So it's a win-win for the company, for the coin, and for the ecosystem.
I don't know if you can speak to, some of the strategies they may have for major market downturns or bear markets, right? Because we know inevitably there's going to be a bear market. It's all cyclical. Would it be like certain types of DeFi activities to earn passive yield, so to speak, so that even if the value of the token is down with everything else, right? The stock market, everything else, if we're in a bear market, there's that revenue being generated, so to speak, to help keep things going. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, there are strategies, uh, capital market strategies like call options and stuff that we're using to make money off of it. We also announced a $25 million buyback of the
Mm.
stock. So because the stock is priced lower than NAV, it's accretive to investors for the company to buy back the stock, to sell some Litecoins, buy back the stock at a lower price. Basically, the market is pricing a Litecoin for less than it's worth.
Mm.
So doing that makes everyone who's holding, lets the stock own more Litecoin, right? So it increases the number of Litecoin per stock, per share, which is great for everyone, right? So the company is doing stuff that is good for its shareholders. So whether it's if the price is above NAV, they would sell more stock to buy more Litecoins, and vice versa. It's effectively like buying low, selling high. So whatever the market gives, the company would take advantage of it. And being able to buy low and sell high, over time, you're just making more and more Litecoin, for the shareholders. So that's what the company is doing. And I think it's a great strategy. So we'll see how that plays out. But um, like, yeah, the market is very volatile, right? Right now, it
Yeah.
seems like we're going to bear market, but then the next day we get to all time high again, right? So that's happened a few times. So we'll see, right? To be able to kind of weather the storm is very important.
Oh, absolutely. And on the other side of the token, you have ETFs. And I just had Canary Capital CEO Steve McClure on, and we talked about the Litecoin ETF. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on this spot ETF going live? It's the first, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, I've been a supporter of Stephen and the Canary Capital for a while. I'm an investor in the company and also a seed investor in the ETF. I provided the first $1 million worth of capital into the or seed into the ETF
Mm.
when it launched. So yeah, I'm huge supporter of the ETF. I think it's great. It's another way for people to get exposure to Litecoin, the asset class. Um, like normally buying Litecoin is not easy, right? You go to the
Right.
exchange, you buy some Litecoins, and then you decide whether or not you hold it on the exchange, which is risky, or you have your own wallet, which is more complicated. But with an ETF, people are used to buying stock on a brokerage account and holding it, right? So they're just buying the LTCC stock, and then you have exposure to Litecoin asset class. So it makes it easy for anyone to invest in Litecoin. So I think that's great also. In addition to also, Lite strategy is another, it's an actively managed, Litecoin investment.
Mm.
So you have both passive Litecoin investment ETFs and also active Litecoin investment ETF, companies. So it's great. You can do both.
Do you feel overall that these ETFs that are being launched, not just for Litecoin, but for even Bitcoin and others, is this major tipping point for adoption? Because to your point, uh, almost anyone can invest in it now because it's in that safe wrapper, right? Whether you're an endowment, you're some pension fund, or even you're just the average Joe who's like, I'm scared of Coinbase or I'm scared of, these wallet stuff. But hey, I know about ETFs. My RIA, my wealth manager tells me about it. The Trump administration is opening up 401ks to invest in crypto assets and other things. So it just allows kind of the mainstream capital to come in a bit.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, if you just look at in history when gold ETF launched, it was huge, right? The same thing with Bitcoin and Litecoin. Just making it easy for people for traditional markets to invest in cryptocurrency is is a huge step, right? It's just making it easy for, like you said, for pensions, for endowments, whereas before they just can't participate. Um, uh, my my high school has an endowment. I went to boarding school in New Jersey called Lawrenceville School, and they a few years ago they invested a bit into Bitcoin. Right,
Mm.
I think they only put like 1%, which is pretty big, right?
Yeah.
Of endowment in Bitcoin. Um, I mean, I kind of helped convince them to do that, and then now like that percentage became a lot bigger than 1%. So they're trying to figure out if they still want to be that invested, but it was tough to convince them to invest in crypto because they have to kind of hold cryptocurrencies on an exchange or something like that, right? Or on cold wallets. But now it's very simple, right? Now for endowments to invest in cryptocurrencies, all they have to do is just buy the ETF.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's huge.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then, Charlie, what we're seeing also is countries are, including the United States, looking to set up digital asset reserves, and obviously the big one, the Bitcoin reserve. But I can imagine that after a Bitcoin reserve is established, some of these countries may want to go beyond Bitcoin and add other assets. Are you and the folks at the Litecoin Foundation, talking to different jurisdictions and governments around the world about potentially holding Litecoin part of their reserve, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, I think it's great that countries are looking to it. I think it's the next big thing where countries are doing putting part of their treasury into cryptocurrencies. I'm personally not talking to any country about doing that. And the best thing about like a decentralized cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Litecoin is that they don't need to talk to me
Mm.
to do. They don't need my permission, um, and they can just buy it, right?
Mm.
Um, and similarly with Bitcoin, they can't even find Satoshi, right? So there's no one to ask. So it's decentralized. It's kind of like gold, right? There's no one to talk to. Gold and silver. You just if they think it's good um kind of reserve asset for the treasury, they would just buy some and hold it.
Since you mentioned Satoshi, and like I said, yeah, I view you as one of the godfathers of this industry, right, and this asset class. Um, who do you think Satoshi is? Is it one person, a group of people? Was it Hal Finney? You were on the forum, so I'm just curious what you think.
It could be hell.
Mm.
Um, I mean, it's very strange. I think it's a very cool story with Bitcoin. I think it's hard to imagine one person launching it.
Mm.
Just being able to know all of this and kind of create it seems like it would require more than one person. But then if it was a group of people, I'm surprised how nothing leaked. Right? Normally, if it's more than one person knows about something, something's going to come out, right?
Yeah.
So having a group of people keep the secret for so long is is unexpected. Um, so I don't know. The fact that Hal Finney passed away um, makes it possible that it's someone that took kind of the secret to his grave. Um, so I hope. I mean, on one hand, I hope I find out who it is and be very cool to kind of talk to Satoshi. But also on the other hand, I think it's good for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency that like we never find out. Just that the fact that it's a mystery and it's kind of just launched mysteriously, and it works. The one thing is that it doesn't matter who created it, right? It works really, really well. It's the best form of money we've ever seen. Um, and it stands on its own because of what it is and not because of who created it or how it was created.
Yeah, well said. I have the same feelings and sentiment. It's like on one hand, I would love to know, but also it's like it's a great feature that no one knows who Satoshi is, and that's the one of the big, powerful, benefits of Bitcoin, right? That people don't know. So yeah, it's just fascinating. Um, I'm curious, what's on your roadmap or on the foundation roadmap that you can share that maybe you have for 2026? And I know some things may be on the wrap, but anything that you can give a hint on.
We are still focused on MWeb adoption. So MWeb, like I said, was the or is the privacy fungibility layer on top of Litecoin. So I think it's key for good sound money to be fungible. So one of our focus is that just making MWeb easier to use, having it supported on different wallets that people use, and then making it easy for people to kind of move coins between MWeb and the main chain,
Mm.
and spend MWeb, spend Litecoin privately. I think is very important. As I think privacy is a kind of a human right. People should have the right to privacy in their money, right?
Oh,
Monetary
for sure.
privacy is important. Yeah. What else? We have Litecoin Summit every year. Um, it's a place where people, Litecoin supporters, can come together to kind of listen to other speakers talk about Litecoin, and just have a place where people can chat. Last year we did it in Las Vegas. This year we didn't. Earlier this year we did in Las Vegas. Next year we haven't announced it yet. But we're going to have a Litecoin summit. It's going to be very exciting as well.
Awesome. Well, maybe I can try to make it out to that one, once it's announced. But great stuff. Charlie, I did want to get your thoughts on, the evolution of the crypto market. We are seeing banks, Wall Street firms, everybody is now jumping into this asset class and technology. Not only are they launching financial products, but they're building with the technology like tokenizing and much more. What are your thoughts on that? Is that both good and bad? I love to get your take as an OG who's seen it from the ground up.
I think it's great that people are embracing crypto blockchain technologies and trying different things. The downside I see is a lot of the people are building um, what I call like solutions looking for a problem.
Mm.
Right? They're saying they're trying to kind of fit crypto blockchain in um, in situations where it doesn't make sense. Right? So the reason why Bitcoin, Litecoin use a blockchain, why it's decentralized, is for is for its kind of decentralization, right? Blockchain isn't effectively an inefficient database, right? It's a database storage solution for transactions that is inefficient, right? Because you have to run those, you have to mine. So the reason why Litecoin needs it is because it provides censorship resistant properties of money, right? So nobody can stop a Litecoin transaction. Nobody can stop you from sending Litecoin to someone else. There's no intermediary. And with that, it makes it good money, right? But then because it's decentralized, it's inefficient. You need a lot of people running nodes, a lot of people mining. So people trying to kind of use blockchain for something that can be easily solved with just a centralized database makes no sense, right? So unless you really need decentralization, you wouldn't use blockchain.
I guess I can just follow up with you on the market conditions. Um, Obviously, we've seen a lot of volatility. I don't know if you can give any predictions, not necessarily price, but do you see this bull market, let's say, continuing into 2026?
For me, I've always been very bullish. I think um, you asked me early on, like the peak of this cycle, like of this bull market, I would say like 150K Bitcoin. I still think we'll get there. I mean, all these bull markets and bear markets, there's always kind of ups and downs, right? It's very volatile. So right now, we're a little bit down. We're still very high compared to like a few years ago, right? So
Right.
um, potentially we'll go back into the bull market and go to all time high again. No one really knows, right? If someone tells you they know the future, they're making stuff up, right? So um, it could go either way. I mean, it's kind of like a cop out, but I'm very bullish. I think it will go up. I think there's still more legs for this bull market. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we go back down from this point.
Do you foresee that over time, as this asset class matures and there's more liquidity, there's more holders of tokens and things like that across the globe, that there's less volatility over time?
Yeah, I think it's natural for it to be as more people get into this space as it matures, it'll be less volatile. The reason why it's volatile is, I mean, since the beginning, like when I first got into crypto, it's super volatile, right? The reason why it's volatile is because it's about the price kind of is capturing kind of the future outlook of crypto, right? So if more and more people start to believe Bitcoin is the future of money, it's going to be the world reserve currency, then price will shoot up, right? If there's after like an exchange getting hacked and people are kind of concerned saying like it's impossible to hold this coin, you always get hacked, you just lose your money, then the price will drop, right? So you see that all the time throughout the past few cycles, right? So when there's bullish things in the market where recently like companies adopting crypto, even countries adopting crypto, the price goes up. And then there's just downturns. So it's as that kind of evolves over time and becomes um kind of the future becomes more certain, the price will stabilize, right? And I expect that to happen, but it might still take a few cycles before that happens.
Okay, Charlie, I got some wrap up questions here. First, if you could create your own metaverse, what would the theme be?
So I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I'd love to create like a kind of a Star Wars in universe metaverse. That'd be pretty cool. Um, yeah, I think something that is kind of nostalgic would be awesome.
Yeah, I would love that to be immersed as like in Star Wars. 'Cause I'm a big Star Wars fan too. That would be amazing. And
I
I hope
actually
money
checked
goes up.
out the Star Wars hotel before they shut it down. I thought that was a very cool experience. If you're a Star Wars fan, unfortunately, they couldn't make enough money, so they shut it down.
Oh man, is that in California,
It was in Florida.
Florida? Okay,
Yeah.
I gotta check that out.
Well,
I don't.
they can't anymore because it doesn't like they tore it down.
Oh man, that sucks. Um, Rapid fire questions. First, favorite food,
Favorite food? Cheese sticks.
favorite musician or band,
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
favorite movie,
Star Wars.
favorite book.
Favorite book? Oh,
It's
there.
a hard one. Yeah,
What's that?
I said yeah. Some of these are hard to pick your favorite, right?
Yeah, I mean, I read so many books growing up. The Hobbit, not
So
not Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit was my favorite.
interesting. And when you're not working, what are you doing for fun?
Watch sports. I play hockey. Um, so yeah, I love hockey.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Charlie, absolute pleasure. I like I said at the beginning, I have some Litecoin tokens from back in the day.
Yeah,
So I'm certainly a supporter, and I appreciate all you've done for the industry, and we've come a far way. And I would love to interview you again at some point. Maybe I attend a summit and we can talk a bit and chat and record there. But thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
yeah. Thanks for having me. It was fun.